What is going on, Aries? This is Chris Anthony coming at you guys live and direct again. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Aries for December 15th through the 30th. And we're going to jump right into it after I kind of say what's up to you guys. I just want to say appreciate you guys for coming out in my last video and showing some love, liking, subscribing, commenting. I definitely like all the support, Aries. And I'm going to definitely continue to give you guys some great content and some great readings. So definitely I appreciate you guys being consistent and watching my videos. This will be a general reading, so it may not resonate with everybody, but if it does resonate with you, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things that let me know that you're watching and that it does resonate with you and you like what you see and hear. If it doesn't resonate with you though, then you probably can go back and catch one of my previous videos, because energy is fluid and that may be more of a match for you, or you can just hold off until the next round of videos comes around for January. All right, so let's get right into it. This is going to be your present energy, Aries, coming into the middle of December. And then over here, we're going to have your futuristic energies like we always do it. Also, I'm going to be clarifying this reading with the Gustav Klimt deck. And I believe that's how you pronounce it. Don't hold me to it. But I like the symbolism on this deck and the artwork and kind of like the feeling I get, you know, when I look at these cards. So definitely going to be using that as a clarifier, at least for the month of December, and we'll see if we keep it going on in January. All right, so starting off, crowning your reading, Aries, we have the Nine of Wands. So the Nine of Wands represents you being in a place of, you know, it's kind of like dealing with all the things that life has thrown at you and you being a veteran because of that. This is kind of like the card of the veteran that kind of has seen it all, done it all, been through all the challenges, handled everything that life has to throw at you, and you're still standing and still able to move forward, and you're still able to fight the next battle. Also, you hold these stripes, these battle wounds, these battle scars, you know, with you, the wisdom and the experience from going through so many different challenges and so many different battles. You hold that with you and you can use it moving forward in life. So this is kind of you being in that place where, you know, you've seen a lot of different things, you went through a lot of changes, and you ate up everything that the universe had to throw at you. You ate up at all the challenges and lessons that you had to learn. You aced them, and you're still standing. Like you got a couple of nicks and bruises and scratches and scars, but you're still standing and you're ready for the next test, you know? But the great thing is that I clarified, and then right next to it, we have the Death card. And the Death card is just representing that transformation happening around that very thing, around you pretty much thinking like, okay, what's the next challenge? What's the next test? What is going to happen next? You know, because this card kind of reminds me of somebody that always has their head on a swivel. You know, they're looking around just to see, okay, what's about to happen now? Like, because you've been through so many different things, like you've had so many different challenges come back to back to back to back. And you're kind of used to something going wrong or something just falling out or some type of monkey wrench being thrown at you. That's kind of what the energy of the card is representing and what I'm picking up. But with you having that transformation card right next to it to clarify, it means that it's some type of transformation that's happening, and it could be a completion of that cycle in your life where you have so many challenges that come to you back to back to back, and you feel like, you know, you have to get ready for the next challenge. You have to gear up for the next test, and you know something is about to go wrong, so you're ready to fight again. You know, this could be kind of like PTSD. You know, like this soldier right here he kind of almost has PTSD a little bit because he's been through so many different things. And when soldiers come back, you know, from the war, and it's time for them to kind of like chill out a little bit, they're still ready to fight again. You know, they're like, let's go. Like anything that they hear over their shoulder, they're ready to kind of, you know, move on and react and respond to it. And so that could be where you have been at in the last couple of months, only because you've been through so much, Aries, in your life. You've been through so many tests and trials, like I said. But with that transformation card being right behind that, it's kind of like the universe is saying, okay, you're going to be coming into a period now where you're able to rest a little bit. You're able to kick back. You're able to be somebody that's not on guard, somebody that's not standing in the front of the castle ready to, look for the next enemy, but somebody that can go chill out a little bit and stand, back inside of the castle and have a bed made for you and just like drink some wine, drink some coffee, kick your feet up, and chill out a little bit. And I think that's what's happening with you, Aries. You're transitioning into that place in your life where you don't have to be so much on guard because you went through so much and you have built within yourself so much from the lessons that you have learned and the experiences that you went through. You used them, wisely to build something for yourself so you don't have to kind of be on such guard anymore. And that's what you're starting to feel, especially with the last reading we had for you, Aries. We were talking about pretty much you getting ready to settle down. You kind of coming into a part of your life where you're starting to settle down. And this has to do with that too, because when you're in that part of life, when you're not settled down, it's like you're learning all these different lessons and you're always having to go through the gauntlet and go through the different challenges because you're trying to overcome something, or you're trying to conquer something. This is kind of like that conquering phase that you've been in. Like, what's next? What else do I have to conquer? Let's go. Like the Aries, always has that kind of like strong stance. Like, I'm ready for anything that you got to throw at me. Let's go. I really want you to throw something at me, like, so I can show you how ready I am. But it's kind of like that transformation with that is happening, and you're going to just start to see that you don't have to be so on guard. Only because you have your stripes already. Like, you're wearing those stripes, and a general can chill out a little bit more than somebody that is a lieutenant. This person right here, is kind of like a lieutenant. The lieutenant always has to be on guard, because they're right there in the middle of the battle. Like, they're right there leading their men and their platoon, and they're going head first on into conflict and into war. But a general is somebody that's kind of like back a little bit. He's sitting back and watching things play out and watching how things are going to unfold, and taking on that more of a sniper position, as opposed to having a machine gun and going crazy with it. Aries, so I think that's the transformation that's happening. Excuse me. Right below that, though, we have the Hierophant card, and this Hierophant card popped up in your last reading. And I was, I think, explaining to you guys that you were, starting to move into a place in your life where you want to settle down. You kind of want to start to go into those conventional ways of life, those lifestyles that are more conventional or traditional, even though Aries is not conventional and traditional in a lot of different aspects of the Aries personality. But there is a side of the Aries, I believe, that likes to have convention and tradition and just a certain routine that matches who you are as a person. And that's probably what the next phase is. Once again, this is a reiteration of that last reading that we were talking about. Right below that, clarifying that, though, is the Star card. So the Star card is kind of like the Death card. It represents the ending of a cycle and the new beginning of the new cycle. And the Star card comes right after the Tower card in the tarot. And right after the Tower card, the Star card represents you being showered with blessings, because you've been through so much turmoil with the Tower card that now you're ready to receive the blessings of the universe, because you've learned so much. You were enlightened after that period of your Tower moments or your dark nights of the soul. And because you've been enlightened, now the universe can bless you with all the different giftings and, those things that come out of nowhere that you're like, okay, wow, like, let's go. And in this sense, it's going to be matching that Hierophant energy. It's going to be having to do with those conventional things that you're going to start to see yourself settle into, and for some of you guys, it could just be like, for example, let's just say, and this is just for an example, but let's say if you were a person that just pretty much never liked to go to any type of religious gathering, or let's say you don't like to go to church, or you don't like to do something that's kind of like that, you know, that some people just do on Sunday just because they want to put that into their routine. Maybe you're going to start to see yourself coming up in 2019 start doing that just because it's just a different side of life. And maybe if you're not doing it for spirituality, you could just be doing it just because you want to do it religiously, because you want to make it a part of your routine. It's kind of like how you saw some of the gangsters do that. Like in that movie American Gangster, Frank Lucas probably wasn't the most spiritual guy, you know, because he was out there selling drugs and becoming a drug lord and building an empire off of drugs. But even yet and still, he would be in church every Sunday just because it was part of his routine. It was just something that he made a staple in his life. And he saw that the routine that he had brought him more success. You know, it's kind of like that thing that like most business owners, they for the most part, I know most business owners get up at like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, and they kind of like do whatever they do in the morning time. Like in that movie American Gangster, Frank Lucas, he was out at a breakfast diner every morning, having breakfast at like 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. every morning, reading the newspaper and having breakfast in the same exact location, you know. And then on Sunday, he would be in church every single, you know, Sunday. And then after he had breakfast in that diner, he would go to the beach and walk his dog. It's kind of like you're going to start to see those things opening up for you, and that routine open up for you to where you're going to start having those things to do every day. But it's going to give you more stability and make your world kind of open up even more, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Frank Lucas for some of you guys. Like Frank Lucas, even though he was a criminal, he was kind of like a genius if you watch the movie American Gangster, because he had everything down to a science in the movements that he made, you know. And because he had everything running so smoothly, he was able to grow his empire bigger and bigger and bigger, because it was nothing, it was no loose ends, you know. And that's kind of what you're coming into. You're coming into your power, Aries, and you're coming into the place where, like I said up here, you're no longer a soldier or a lieutenant. You're coming into that general phase of your life. And if you could see the contrast to this, even going back to Frank Lucas again, for some reason I'm using this example for you guys, but this part right here of your life was when Frank Lucas was just the driver for Nicky Bonds, I believe his name was, or I probably have his name wrong, but he was just a driver for his boss in the beginning, you know, before he became the drug lord, the big empire Frank Lucas. He started off at this phase just being in lieutenant mode, like the first person, the right-hand man of the general, until the general had to leave his position, and then he became that general. You know, he took on that position of being a general. So that's what's happening to you guys. This transformation that's taking place is you coming to your seat of power and you walking into a place that you're no longer in exploration phase. You're no longer in fighter mode, but now you're in the mode of you're sitting back and calculating. You're becoming a godfather. You're making moves based on your experience and based on your system that you've built. And you're going to start to see those things come into place where you're going to have your routine down to a science. And you'll start to see that this routine is what is going to bring you even more success. Because now you're building in a different type of way. You're building like a master builder, like an alchemist. And so you don't have to go and kind of do all of the crazy heavy work like you used to do. Now you're going to start to see yourself using more leverage inside of your business, inside of your job, inside of your career, inside of your life in general. You're going to start to use the leverage. You're going to start to find, you know, the shortcuts, the ways that kind of bring you more success without you working hard. At the end of the day, you're going to start working smarter and not harder. And Aries is already good at that, so it's just you kind of refining that even more. And then you're going to start to see those blessings coming in from the universe, because you're finding your place in the things that are solid and stable. You know, those staples in your life is what is about to start being revealed. And you're going to start to see like, hey, I like to do this every day. I think I'm going to make that a staple in my life. I like to do this once a week. I'm going to make that a staple. You know, I like to go visit this person, or I like to go have a conversation with this person once a week. And then, you know, it's kind of like how every person that runs an empire, or everybody that is a businessman or businesswoman, you know, they always have like these things, these habits that they do that are great habits, and they continually do them over and over again, and then they grow their empire around those core staples in their life. So yeah, that's just what I see. Aries, let's keep it moving. I'm already 15 minutes in, and I'm only at the second card. So right next to the Hierophant, we had the Seven of Wands. So this is the same thing I was talking about. You kind of being in a position right now where you're kind of feeling like you're on guard a little bit. The Seven of Wands is that on guard energy. And really, for some of you guys, you could be maybe fighting this transformation that you're having to make, because a lot of times lieutenants like being lieutenants, you know, like they like going into the middle of the war and fighting with their soldiers, and kind of like, let's go, you know, taking the head off of the enemy, and kind of like still being in that fighter mode. And so you could be fighting this transformation that's happening from you transforming from a lieutenant to a general, Aries. And you could be on defense about it, because this is all you know. All you know is like how to fight, how to war, how to battle, how to be in conflict. You know, the ram is the representation of the Aries, and the ram goes head up. It takes everything head on. But sometimes in life, you have to transform into a place where you're not taking everything head on. You're taking it from a seat of power, from a seat of authority. You're taking it on like the Godfather would. And you're not moving forward in passion, you know, because both of these cards right here are passionate cards. Now, Aries is one of the most passionate signs. But you can use your passion in a different type of way, to where it's more thought out. It's more logistical. You know, it's using your passion as leverage, and not just as the first go-to, you know. And I think that's what some of you guys are starting to tap into with this Hierophant energy being right next to this Seven of Wands. It's kind of like you're making that transformation, like I said, from that fighter mode into that more relaxed mode. And you still could fight. We all know you can bring it out, but it's like you don't have to. Why? Because you have a lieutenant of your own. Like, you're the general now. You have a couple lieutenants. You know, you have a couple colonels that are up under you. You know, other soldiers, other foot soldiers. It's like, so you don't have to be the one that's getting out there and going in the fight mode. And I'm talking in symbolism, you know, so, but that's what I think is happening with you guys, this crossover. And some of you guys could be fighting it. You could still be, like I was saying in the last video, still in bachelor mode, still in bachelorette mode, and you're kind of like, nah, I'm having fun out here. Like, some of you guys could feel like you're just now getting to the point where, like, you're enjoying your singleness all the way, and you're like, nah, like, I still want to be out here, like, and that's what I'm feeling. It's crazy, but the transformation is coming. You know, it's kind of like the universe is calling you to level up to that general mode and take a seat instead of standing up and being on defense. All these different positions are stances that you're taking, but the Hierophant is sitting back. That's that Godfather mode. And so, yeah, Aries, that's the direction that you're headed in. Right next to that, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles represents some type of offer that could be coming in. Could be from an earth sign. You know, it could be an earth sign that's coming in, making an offer to you, or maybe you could be making an offer to an earth sign. This could also represent some type of business offer that could be coming your way, you know, or a career move that you're thinking about taking. But it is the slowest night, so it's the more calculated, thought out night, and that matches so much to what we were just talking about. You could be thinking about moving forward in a more calculated way, and starting something maybe new, or continuing something on that you've already been working on, and you're just doing it slowly but surely, and you know, you're crossing every T, dotting every I. and doing it in a way to where you know it's going to be a solid foundation. And so if this is somebody coming in making an offer to you, let's say if it has to do with a relationship, with a new relationship that's coming your way, it could be somebody that's thinking just like you, or they're thinking in a place that you're supposed to be thinking in. Like they want to make sure it's going to be a solid foundation. They want to make sure this is not just going to be a fly by night type relationship that just comes in passionately, like you guys, are used to. Aries are passionate signs, but you're coming to that point where you want it to be settled down. You want it to move slower. So the next relationship that you're getting into, you want it to be something that's gonna maybe not move as fast, maybe not go from the different levels that the relationships go quickly. You want to do it more slowly, more methodically. So you could be making moves methodically, maybe in life in general, or it could be maybe going to the next person methodically, or somebody could be coming into you in a more methodical way. But I believe this is you just moving forward in life, thinking about logistics, thinking about, leverage, thinking about how you could win in the long run, and not just how you can win right now. Because this person is only thinking about how they can win right now. But if you go through this whole Hierophant shift of energy, this star card, this new cycle that comes in, then you start to think about how you can win for the long term. Let's go, Aries. Right below that, we have another death card. So transformation is occurring, and it has to do with that. That's what I'm feeling deeply, because that was happening in your last reading, and it's like the Hierophant came out again. In the center of your reading, you had the Hierophant energy. So it could be for some of you guys, a transformation of your belief system, a transformation of those things that you thought to be conventional or traditional, and how you're transforming that. You're moving on beyond, let's say, the conventions and traditions of your past, and you're creating new beliefs, new traditions, new conventional ways to look at life. For a lot of you guys, this could be that too. And you're moving forward in a way to where you're like, okay, this belief system worked for me in the past. The way that I had an outlook on life worked for me in the past, but I'm no longer a lieutenant. Now I am a general. So I'm still ready to fight for what's mine, but I'm going to start fighting in a different type of way. I'm going to start using my weapons differently. You have more things at your disposal to use now. You have a whole arsenal to use. You have a whole army to use. You're the general, Aries. So now you're going to start to see that the transformation that's happening, and the whole point of all these challenges that you faced before in life, or just to get you to a place where you can wield all the weapons in your arsenal. And then not only that, you can get to a point where you don't even have to use your weapons, because you're using your mind. And that is what I'm feeling. I don't even know where this came from, Aries, because some of the cards are not even matching what I'm talking about. So I know this is a very intuitive reading. But definitely, I believe that transformation that's occurring is that you're starting to be able to see just how much power you possess, and how you don't even have to break out the wand. You don't even have to fight. You could just be like, hey, let me make a boss move. And that's what's happening with you guys. You're starting to really level up to that boss level, that Godfather level. And you don't have to be the fighter anymore. Now you can be the person that conspires, that goes to have a conversation, that goes to talk to another boss, and sees how things can work out together for the good, instead of you having to go to war. Because I think somebody said this in a movie, like the most wisest ruler is the ruler that is able to go to war and able to fight and able to win a battle or a war, but they get to the point where they don't have to actually go to war. And that's the most wisest person, is knowing that you can fight and you can win if you had to do it, but you don't want to sacrifice all the lives of the people that are surrounding you by going into war just because you want to go to war to prove a point that you want to win, that you can win. It's like the wisest person actually goes and has a talk with his enemy and is like, hey, we don't have to go to war. Like, let's just not, use all of our firepower and all of our soldiers and all of the weaponry that we have and all the money that we're going to spend in war. How about we just have a conversation and come to a compromise, a level of compromise? And symbolically, that's what's happening to you, Aries. You're going to start to not fight in the same type of way for the things you want in life. You're going to start to do it from that boss level. It's not even a fight, it's a conversation. We don't have to fight, we can converse. Let's go. Moving right along, Aries. So for your future energies, we have the 3 of Wands, we have the 10 of Wands, we have the 2 of Swords, and then we have the Hangman. So the 3 of Wands is representing you waiting for something, waiting for your ships to come in. You're waiting for those things that you had planted, those seeds you had planted to actually come and grow. You're waiting to go on a journey. You're waiting to go on a trip. You're waiting for that train to come. You're waiting for the plane to board, because you know that you have chose the path and the direction already that you want to go in, and it's kind of like, okay, now you're just getting ready for that journey because it's on and popping. And I think that has to do with that whole transformation, like I said, from the lieutenant to the general. You're waiting for pretty much the army or the armed forces to pin you as the general. Like, let's go. And you know it's coming, that's why you're looking out to the ocean, because something new is on its way and it's coming. But first, maybe you have to wrap up the end of this cycle. The 10 of Wands represents completion. It represents completion of a burdensome time that you could have been having, and maybe, a certain part of your life. It could be in your personal life, your work life, your business life, your love life, anything like that. But it could have been something that's been quite a burden to you, and you've been having to carry it. Like I said, the 9 of Wands was over here. You've been going through a lot of things, and you learned a lot, and you got scarred and beat up and bruised, but you're still holding those bundle of different challenges, and you're going all the way to the finish line. And so this 3 of Wands probably just represents you completing that, you wrapping up that karmic cycle, wrapping up that cycle where you just have to end out that phase of being the lieutenant, of being the bachelor, or being the bachelorette, being the person that goes to war and loves it. It's just kind of like you finishing your last battle. And that's kind of what you're waiting on, because it's all coming to an end and your world is about to change. Right below that, we have the 2 of Swords, though. So 2 of Swords represents some type of indecision. And I clarified it with the 8 of Wands. So I believe that this indecision could have to do with some type of communication that could be coming in from somewhere, or some communication that you want to make to someone, and you're kind of like at a crossroads with it. The 2 of Swords often could represent a decision between your heart and your head, and you're kind of choosing like, okay, what do I do? Do I follow my heart, or do I follow my logical mind? And this could have to do with some type of communication that comes in. 8 of Wands represents fast communication, passionate communication. It could be through email, through text messages, through phone calls, through anything like that, any medium of communication. But maybe you're sending them out. You're thinking about sending some communications out, or somebody could be communicating with you from somewhere. Maybe this could have to do with a relationship, somebody that you're thinking about being in a relationship with. Like I was saying, that Knight of Pentacles could be an earth sign that could be coming in and making an offer, and you guys could have some communication going back and forth, but it puts you into a place where you're kind of like, oh snap, what do I do? And because you kind of get into that place of indecision, it pushes you into another major arcana, which is the Hangman. So maybe in the future, going into the beginning of January, you're in a place where you're kind of just hanging upside down, looking at life from a different point of view. And I think that's what is needing to happen, because you have all this transformational energy that's coming your way. And you could possibly be kind of on guard against it a little bit, or fighting it a little bit. and not making a decision to move forward. You're kind of stuck a little bit. So a lot of times when we get to that place, we go into the hangman mode, which is almost like the hermit, but the hangman is kind of like just seeing things from a different point of view. When you hang upside down, everything looks totally different. You know, so you could be flipping the script in certain ways in your life where you're just looking at things from a whole different point of view. And you're like, okay, everything looks different now. My world is changing. My world is transforming. How do I move forward? So you're becoming enlightened about how you're going to be moving forward in life. Like I said, you're becoming that general. So this could just be the break that you're taking while you're making that transformation from the lieutenant to the general. Congratulations, Aries, though. Like, for real, you guys are the true generals for sure. Like, your sign is one of the most powerfulest signs out there. And I always say, if an Aries can't do it, then it can't be done, because every Aries that I know, they can do anything. I'm like, what can you guys not do? Like, if you go after it, you make it happen. And so this could just be you taking that break before you go into that next phase of your life. With you becoming that general, you're looking at life a little bit differently. And you know that your movements are going to have to be differently moving forward. So you're stopping for a second and you're like, okay, let's make the changes. Let's level up. Let's transform. And I like it, Aries. Let's go. Right after that, though, I think you're going to be full speed ahead into that next phase of life, that higher, upper echelon part of life, you know, that y'all are definitely going to enjoy. So Happy New Year, Aries. I know it's going to be a great year for you in 2019. These are some great cards that you have. Thanks for watching the video. If you made it to the end here, and if you liked the message, then give me a thumbs up. You know, you can subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Also, I want to let you guys know I am offering personal readings now. So if you want more clarity on, you know, something that maybe you can't figure out alone by yourself, or if you just want a more personal experience with me, then check my email in the description of this video, and we can set that up. All right, Aries, that's it for me. I'm Chris Anthony, and I'm out.